It was the defining air war of the Pacific, American bombers versus Japan's lethal Zero fighters. The B 17, a flying fortress of destruction, found itself pitted against the nimble and deadly Zero, a machine built for speed and maneuverability. So, how did these heavy bombers manage to survive against one of the deadliest fighters of the World War II? Let's dive into the tactics, technology, and sheer grit that turned the tide. The Boeing B 17, nicknamed the Flying Fortress, was an engineering marvel built to take immense damage and keep flying. It was heavily armed, boasting up to 13.50 caliber machine guns, each manned by skilled gunners who trained extensively to handle rapid aerial threats. But its sheer size and slower speed make it a prime target for the swarming Zeros. The Japanese Mitsubishi A6M0 was a different beast, fast, agile, and deadly. It was one of the most feared fighters of the early Pacific War. Its lightweight airframe and powerful 20 cannons make it a formidable opponent. The Zero could outturn, outclimb, and outgun most American aircraft in one-on-one dogfights. But against the B 17, it faced a new kind of challenge. One of the most effective tactics of the U.S. bomber crews developed was the combat box formation. B 17s never flew alone. Instead, they relied on tight formations, allowing their gunners to create a deadly crossfire, covering one another's blind spots. This transformation, a single squadron of bombers into a flying fortress of lead. Zero dividing into a formation of bombers, its bullets riddling a 217's fuselage, but the return fire from the multiple bombers shredding its wings. Zeros would make high speed slashing attacks, using their speed to wave in and out of the formation. But the more disciplined the B 17 crews were, the harder it was for the enemy to break through. Defensive gunners were trained to fire in coordinated bursts, focusing the fire on incoming threats and forcing the Zeros to reconsider their attack vectors. Each gunner had a specific role. The tail gunner defended against pursuit attacks, the ball turret gunner covered the lower approach, and side gunners covered the flanks. This overlapping field of fire gave B-17s a fighting chance. Still, the battles were brutal. A single Zero could slip through the rain of bullets, wreaking havoc on a bomber's engines or cockpit. Despite their armor and firepower, B-17s had weaknesses. Their fuel tanks, through self-sealing, were still vulnerable to concentrated fire. Their engines, though powerful, could be taken out with a well-placed burst. And worst of all, they lacked the speed to outrun the Zeros. That's where escort fighters came in. As the war progressed, American bombers began receiving fighter escort. The arrival of P 38 Lightnings and later P 51 Mustangs changed the game. These high speed fighters engaged the Zeros before they could reach the bombers, evading the odds. Even with all these tactics and reinforcement, the sky over the Pacific were unforgiving. Many B 17s never made it back, but those that did proved the resilience of the flying fortress and the bravery of its crew. Against the odds, these bombers fought back, their gunners making sure that even the feared Zeros would think twice before attacking. The battle between bombers and the Zeros was more than just a clash of aircraft. It was a battle of strategy, technology, and human determination. And in the end, the ability of the B 17 to not just attack, but to survive, provide crucial in turning the tide of war in the Pacific. The legacy of the Flying Fortress lives on, a symbol of resilience, defense, and ingenuity of those who fought in the skies of World War II. Hope so you like the video. If you like the video, then hit the subscribe button for amazing military content. The battle between the Zeros and the bombers was more than just a clash of the aircraft war. It was a battle of strategy, technology, and human determination. And in the end, the ability of the B 17 to not just attack